cover lesson 7.1 on congruence and transformations. Tomorrow we will do lesson 2, and then on Friday we will test to see where you stand. So what we're going to do to start this lesson off is to take this piece of cardboard and direct your attention to the backboard as Whitney traces it. Take a marker and trace it. Anywhere on the board. Anywhere on the board, she's going to trace this figure. We don't care about that.
So we're not allowed to have cell phones in the classroom.
Now, pass it on, the piece of cardboard and the marker to someone.
Pass it me.
Madeline, I want you to trace that figure, but do something different. It's up to you. Okay, so let's get someone else. Pass it on. Destiny, you get your turn. I want you to trace that figure, but do something different.
What's up with flipping it? No, not flip it. I don't know.
Oh, you've heard of it before. What were you going to say, Krista?
Rotating it, I don't know.
Okay, rotating it. Looks like they may be doing some rotating. Okay, Destiny, pick somebody here. Sabrina, your task. Trace that figure, but do something different. So, here is the question as we begin the lesson. We want to know, why do rotations, reflections, and translations create congruent figures? What do you notice about each one of these shapes here on the board? They're the same shape. What else can you say about them? They're the same shape. You said they are the same size. What type of transformation do we have to go from this image to this image? What do we call a flip?
A reflection.
Somebody said we have a reflection.
No.
Okay, so what else?
A rotation.
Okay, Destiny says we have a rotation. A rotation followed by a reflection followed by
Translation.
very good, a translation. Now, how do we go from this pre-image to that image?
Another rotation.
A rotation.
And
You didn't tell me clockwise or counterclockwise, so I'm just rotating. How many degrees? You want to go? I am going clockwise.
no, we gotta go to the bottom.
Okay, start over. Do we have a rotation?
Yes.
Okay, which way you want to go?
Clockwise.
9 degrees clockwise. There you're 90.
Reflection.
Reflection over which axis?
Y.
Followed by? Very good, a translation. Now the essential question is, why do rotations, reflections, and translations create congruent figures?
Because
Let's go back. Let's go back to this one. transformation takes us here to there?
And
Destiny says a rotation. A translation. So why do we have these shapes that are the same size and the same shape? How do we know that they are the same size and the same shape?
We traced it.
Because we traced it. We traced it. So we just followed a series of transformations to go from one image to the other, right? Okay, so now on page 510, 510. To introduce the lesson and develop the concept, we trace these figures. Not only did we trace them, we moved them around. Look at identify congruence at the top of page 510. Ignore that first sentence, but someone read that second sentence. Yes, two figures.
Two figures are congruent if the second can be obtained from the first by a series of rotations, reflections, and
Very good. So to create each one of those figures on the dry erase board, you either took the shape, you either rotated it, we either reflected it, or we either translated it. All three of those are called transformations, okay? Look at example 1. You want to determine if the two figures are congruent by using transformations, and then you want to explain your reasoning. We have the concept of the transparency, right? What is the pre-image in example 1? What is the name of the pre-image? Very good. The pre-image in example 1 is named who? ABC. We want to determine if the image is congruent. In other words, will a series of rotations, translations, or reflections get you that image?
Yeah.
What do you have to do, Destiny?
You gotta rotate it, and then you gotta what's going on?
Okay, now here's the original. And what do you say you do first?
Rotate.
Which way?
Clockwise.
Rotate clockwise. Flip it over. Which way? Over the x-axis or over the y?
The X.
Flip it over the x.
And then you translate it.
Translate it up or down. Okay, now, question. Did it take all of that she said? Could there have been shorter transformations?
No.
Okay, well, Destiny, I think you have some people who disagree. Tyler, you said you could have taken a shorter route? Okay, go back to the original. Tyler, what could she have done shorter? Flip it? What do you call a flip? A flip is not a rotation. What do you call a flip? Okay, you want to reflect it over the x, or would you like to reflect it over the y? He wants to reflect it over the y and translate it. Very good. Any questions on that one? Let's look at example 2. Remember, figures are congruent if you can go from one to the other by rotating, reflecting, or translating. Okay? So, do we have two congruent figures in number 2 and explain?
Yep.
Amanda, you're shaking your head. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, now, what series of transformations will map the red figure onto the green? What do you do to the red to get to the green? Visualize it. She said you have to rotate it clockwise. Yes.
I don't think that's the same shape.
Okay. I don't think they're the same shape. Let's see why.
Because one of the boxes on the
Okay, so now Amanda says that these are not congruent. And why are they not congruent?
Boxes aren't on the same.
Very good. If we do a reflection, what happens?
They don't match up.
Right, we got a box that's out of place, okay? So the explanation there, you would say no, they're not congruent because there is not a series of transformations that map one image onto the other, okay? We say no, they're not congruent because there is not a series of transformations, okay? Are these two figures congruent?
No.
And why not?
You can't change it.
Very good. Hold on, Destiny. Zedric, why are these figures not congruent?
Because there's no series of transformations.
Any questions? At the top of the next page, try A and B at the top of page 511, and you determine if you have congruent figures.
On B, which one's A and which one's B? It's not labeled.
Oh, this one doesn't matter. I'm going to do this problem and that problem. We want to know if these two figures are congruent and if these two figures are congruent. Jacqueline, if you can rotate the figure or reflect the figure or translate it to get the second image, then you have congruent figures.